you and welcome everybody. This is to let you know I'll be making some forward-looking statements. Avino is a primary silver and gold explorer and producer in Mexico. That's where our primary asset is, the Avino mine. We've got over 37 years of combined production under our belt. And the mine was discovered over 500 years ago by Captain Iber of Cortez's army, who claimed to have found a mountain of silver. And most people think there can't be much left after all those years, but we've got 60 million tons of ore, which is about 60 years of mine life ahead of us. Here it is located in the state of Durango in the heart of Mexico. We're a 1-hour drive by paved road to the doorstep of the mine from the city of Durango, where there's 650,000 people. We've got 100% Mexican labor force, right up to our chief operating officer. We have about 350 people working for us now, all coming from the local communities that built up over the hundreds of years. There's probably 20 to 30,000 people within a 15 or 20 kilometer radius around the mine. Major milestone. So we closed the acquisition of the La Preciosa project from Coeur Mining on March 21st. I'll get into the details in a moment, but it basically combines our mineral resources to 290 million ounces of silver equivalent. It's one of the largest undeveloped primary silver resources on the planet, and it's right beside our property. Strategic rationale, so it elevates Avino's potential as a silver producer and developer. We're working on a 5-year plan right now to build it up to an intermediate status operation of between 8 to 10 million ounces of silver equivalent annually. And the beauty of the project is it's right next to us, so we're not competing for resources. It's trucking distance to the mine. Avino has a 20-kilometer dedicated power line capable of 5 megawatts, and we're only utilizing 3. So one of our first things that we're working on right now is planning to extend that power line over to La Preciosa so we can start operations, surface works early next year. So here's our combined resources. You can see here on the metal content, if you go right down to the bottom, so AG is silver, 151 million ounces of measured and indicated, 38 million inferred. You combine all that to silver equivalent, 230 million ounces of measured indicated and 61 inferred. So that's where the 290 million ounces of silver equivalent comes from. Here's where we stack up with our peer group. So the upper table is the junior silver companies. The lower table is intermediate. So if you look on the resource side, right at the bottom, 150 million ounces of silver in the measured and indicated category. So we beat everyone at the top, and we come in like we're almost tied for second on the whole table of our peer group. And if you go over and look at the enterprise value over resources, we're at 69 cents. And up top, the average is $4, and the average for the larger companies is $8. So we're extremely undervalued. Why is that? Because we just closed the transaction, and the world hasn't gotten around to looking at this. We're just disclosing it now at these new in-person conferences. So measured and indicated enterprise value over resources, 42 cents. So extremely undervalued. And another reason why was the mine was closed for a year and a half. We just reopened it in August, so we've got 2 quarters of production under our belt. And we're generating free cash flow right now. Here you can see measured and indicated silver resources. So the gray companies are producers. We've got the most, and we're in second place basically in the whole group. Here you can see enterprise over measured and indicated silver resource valuations. We're the cheapest. And basically we've got the second most leverage to the metal price of all our peer groups. Here you can see the terms of the transaction with Coeur. We paid 29.7 million, 30 million basically in upfront consideration. That's 10 cents on the dollar what Coeur paid in 2013 when they bought Orco Mining for $350 million US. So we basically stole it from them. So it's a fantastic acquisition for us, and we're thrilled about putting it back into production. We've got 3 drills turning around our property. We've announced 2.95 meters at La Potosina of 668 grams of silver equivalent. The Brecha de Bajo vein, 32 meters of 151 grams. These are all ore grade. And Brecha de Bajo is right next to our mine, so it's easily accessible. So we're really excited about these veins. La Malentia vein is the name of Cortez's wife. So she was alive when they found the mine. So think of the history there. It's pretty amazing. Here's our first quarter production numbers with Q4. So consistent. Q1 was a little lighter than Q4 because we sold less ounces during the quarter. Financial highlights, record revenue, 11.1 million in revenue, 4.7 at the mine site. Adjusted earnings and cash flow of 3 cents a share. So cash balance on the balance sheet after we gave the 15 million to Coeur is 11.7 million and growing. So we're generating positive cash flow. Free cash flow generated in Q1 was 2.4 million US. Here's our financial statement. So you can see our revenue, 11.1 million. Mine operating income, 4.7 million. EBITDA, 2.8 million. Cash flow per share, 3 cents. Free cash flow, 2.5 million. So we're firing on all cylinders since we reopened the mine. Here you can see our all-in sustaining costs. 1990 in Q1 was a little bit higher than Q4 at 1724, and that's because we sold less metal. It's because of mine sequencing. We're in a lower grade area, but we expect in Q3 and Q4 we're going to be mining higher grade material. So production forecast for this year is 2.2 to 2.6 million ounces of silver equivalent, but in the next few quarters, we're developing our initial mine plan at La Preciosa and our long-term mine plan of over 5 years. We're planning to, like I said, achieve intermediate status, so that's 8 to 10 million ounces annually. So stay tuned for that information when we launch that. It's going to be very exciting because our market cap is 100 million. And if you look at our direct peer that we're looking at, Endeavour Silver, they produce 8 million ounces of silver equivalent annually, close to $20 all in sustaining, and they have $1 billion market cap. So you're looking 10 times growth within 5 years. And we control it. It's organic. Right now what we're doing, we're spending this year 7 to 9 million, 15,000 meters of drilling. We're building the state-of-the-art dry stack tailing storage facility, which is the safest way on the planet, the most modern technology to store tailings so it can't move. So we're very excited about that. It's almost complete. We're metallurgically testing. We drilled 110 holes on our tailing storage facility because there's a huge endowment of oxide material sitting below the sulfides. This is when we open pit mined in the 70s and 80s and had poor recovery rates. The results were fantastic, and we know it works. We've done a PEA on it. This metallurgical test work we're doing this year will go into a pre-feasibility study next year. And this is one of our expansion plans. It'll come online in about year 3 or 4. We spun out a non-core asset to Endurance Gold. This is up in the Braylorn region here in BC. Incidentally, we sold Braylorn to Talisker in 2019. We own 15 million shares of Talisker. They've got 8 drills turning at Braylorn. Avino sits on a volcanic caldera, and it's structurally controlled. The arrows represent faults that go in opposite directions that opened up the middle inside where you see all those names. Those are all veins with different mines, so huge potential. And we're going after the high-grade ones, as I announced earlier. Here's the dry stack tailings pictures. Research coverage, H.C. Wainwright, Alliance, Roth, Cantor, they all have targets close to $2 US per share. We're trading at around 85 cents Canadian. We trade about 1 million shares a day on the NYSE and about a tenth of that on the TSX. There's 117 million shares outstanding, 134 million fully diluted. Coeur is our largest shareholder because of the acquisition with 14 million shares. I'm the second largest shareholder with 2.5 million shares. Why invest? Because it's a primary silver producer and explorer. Re-rating expected as we disclose our 5-year plan and show everyone how we're going to get there. 290 million ounces, so one of the highest leverage to silver companies out there. So undervalued on a price to net asset value, which I showed you on a graph earlier, and that's because the mine was closed. Now we're showing consistency in our production and generating free cash flow. Thank you very much.